Well, hey there, pharmacy owners. Dr. Lisa Faast here, and I want to talk a little bit about AI and automation. AI obviously is everywhere these days. There's a lot of what I'll call AI greenwashing, where people are using the term AI even though it isn't quite AI. So I'm getting a lot of questions about the differences or the similarities between automation and AI. So obviously, AI stands for artificial intelligence. It has intelligence. It is programmed to be able to take information in and make some decisions on its own. Oftentimes, there's obviously guardrails and rules that the AI must follow, but it can do its thing without any human interaction or interpretation from a human for further instructions. Now, automation, on the other hand, is can appear intelligent because it follows a set of steps. It's been told exactly what to do and how to do it, and it will go off and do those things and do those tasks all on its own. So it can appear to be intelligent, but it's really just automation. It's just a computer following steps 1 through 10 all on its own, but it can't do any interpretation. It's not going to go outside of those rules. It's not going to try to infer understanding or understanding the language. And so both are important in terms of you for a pharmacy owner and improving efficiency in your pharmacy and leveraging technology in order to get more stuff done with lower costs and all the things that technology does for businesses. You can also have a service that combines AI and automation, right? Like those are usually the most advanced services because you have a layer of intelligence there that is interpreting and making some decisions based on the information that it's bringing in. And then you also have the automation that has the steps that it's going to go do. So for example, in pharmacy, you can have automation like sending out an automated text message every time a certain type of prescription is filled. There's no intelligence in that. You set up the rules. There's a trigger, statin prescription filled. Therefore, a text message gets sent out about CoQ10, right? So there's automation, but there's no intelligence. Intelligence comes from the AI models, most of them in our world that you will be using. For most of us aren't coders or developers, are the large language models. So the ChatGPT is probably the most common one, but there's Gemini and Claude, and there's a bunch out there. But the large language models, those are the ones that are kind of like interpreting what you're saying, making some inference, using the knowledge of the greater world of the internet and all that kind of stuff in order to then come up with an appropriate response to prompts or questions or whatnot that you need. So an intelligence could be if you set up a system to where a prescription was filled and then an email was written, using these guidelines, but each email was a little unique, a little different, took in the history of the patient, took into the account that the, patient is male or female, young or old, those kinds of things. That would be intelligence behind that automation of having a written email. So, what should you be using in your pharmacy? One of the things that I talked about recently at the Pharmacy Profit Summit in March of 2026 was an AI roadmap for pharmacy. I firmly believe that every pharmacy should be using AI and automation in some way, shape, or form. And how you run your business and how you do your marketing and all those kinds of things are going to factor into what kind of AI and what kind of automation that you should be using. The basics, the very, very basics are, like using ChatGPT. Asking ChatGPT questions, using it as a sounding board, getting used to just interacting with technology kind of on this human level. I often have talked to people and talk to pharmacy owners that, the more you talk to your ChatGPT like a human, the better the outcome is going to be, because that's how it's trained. It's trained in language. And again, most of us aren't coders or developers or anything like that. So your large language models are perfect for doing things for your business, whether it's creating, SOPs or a marketing plan or saying, hey, is this a good idea? Should I add this service to my pharmacy? They're really great sounding boards. And then there's also automation, right? Most of us have pharmacy management systems that have a ton of bells and whistles, and none of us use like even 10% of the pharmacy management system. There's so much communication automation that's in a PMS. There's so much like adjudication and uh, prescription processing automation, and most of us just don't use it. I think that's probably one of the most underused technologies that you're already paying for. You're already paying to have your PMS system in your pharmacy, but we're not using all the automation that's in there. And so, one, make sure you're using just the basic level stuff. There's a couple of pharmacy owners that I've talked to, and they talk about doing this really advanced stuff with AI or building their own AI software and things like that, but they're not even, automating text messages or when your prescription's ready or some of the like basic stuff first. So do your basic stuff first before you go try to do the advanced stuff. So I love talking about AI and automation. I kind of, jumped into the AI pool along with the rest of the world a few years ago. I've been teaching AI to pharmacy owners and kind of how to use it in order to integrate it into our world, because our world, our business world is a little bit different than others. Even in the medical space, many of the EHR platforms that medical providers use, they're very open. They connect with a lot of third-party apps and third-party software systems that makes integrating AI and automation much easier. In our world, our PMS software systems aren't like that. They're not very open. They don't integrate with a lot of third-party options. And so it can be a little bit difficult sometimes for a pharmacy owner or a pharmacist or technician to be like, how can I best use AI to improve the business overall? So if you have any questions about AI, put them in the chat below, contact me on social media or my email. I'm happy to further this conversation because I want everybody to be able to leverage the technology in the way that works for you, right? Because what works for me may not work for you, and that's okay. That's the beauty of technology. So happy to keep this conversation going, and you can post your comments down below. And of course, you can reach out to us. You can check out Pharmacy Badass University and all the great things that we're doing for pharmacy owners. And if nothing else, just follow us on our social media and our YouTube channel and keep getting a bunch of free content to help you in your pharmacy. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.